chat. 'Tis I, your favorite drag queen turned GM, Shelly Von Miller here, and we are here for another interview. Of course, whenever you see me looking like this, I look like a decent human being. But today we are talking to the wonderful people over at MythCraft. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Can you introduce yourself and what you do over there?
Yeah, I'm Nathan Hurd. I'm the lead game designer for QuasiReal Publishing, which is the publishing company that created MythCraft. Regarding MythCraft, I write the lion's share of the game itself, oversee the development of new mechanics, new classes and creatures, and campaign modules and that kind of thing as we develop them. So, if you have the core rulebook or the creature compendium or the Mythcrafter's Guide, I wrote large chunks of each of those books. So that's me. That's what I do.
The ultimate question is how did you get into writing TTRPGs?
Well, do you want the long version or the short version?
You decide.
Okay, I will strive for brevity, but I'll give the whole story. When I was 6-ish years old, my grandparents got me a Knights and Castles toy set, and my parents were well-intentioned, but maybe a little bit too worried that would turn me into Conan the Barbarian, right? Guts and gore and no redemptive kind of qualities there. And so they thought, how can we channel this toy in a constructive fashion? My dad grew up in the original days of D&D and played D&D as a kid. And so he, dusted off his books, handed me some character sheets, and this was in the days of 3.5. And so I started playing D&D in elementary school with my dad, and then eventually with some of my friends. The classic, everyone comes over after school, we play some D&D together, that vibe. I started DMing for my brother and his friends once I was in middle school. They were, I was the cool older brother, or the dorky older brother, either one. Set out to create fun campaigns. Eventually I started doing my own homebrewing and made I made a Percy Jackson themed campaign and a Hunger Games themed campaign. And so that really started me writing my own mechanics. Fast forward 8-10 years, I got involved with the Homebrew Network, which is an affiliate of QuasiReal Publishing. We do tabletop role-playing game actual plays, primarily D&D, but also MythCraft, of course. Through that process, I met a bunch of great people. We have been homebrewing for, years. And then the great OGL debacle of 2023 rolled around. Yes, and we thought, we love this game, and we want security and safety over, our own ideas and our own IP. And we've been homebrewing already for a very long time. Let's just take the next step and actually put pen to paper and make our own game kind of its own official thing. So that's, broad strokes, that's kind of the story. I grew up doing it, and then the recent events being what they are kind of set us up to launch this.
I think that's been a launching point for a lot of people recently, is the OGL debacle, controversy, however you want to label it.
Yeah.
Because you just see tons of new content coming out, and I love it. Because now I get to just be like, okay, just give me all your games,
it's a renaissance.
Please.
It's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess what is MythCraft for those who don't know? For those
Sure.
who weren't here at the beginning, what is MythCraft?
Yeah, so MythCraft is a D20-based fantasy role-playing game similar to Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder. I would call it a medium crunch system in that it is a little bit more, a lot more in-depth than 5th edition D&D, but it's not as number crunchy. It doesn't have all of the heavy calculations that you get with like D&D 3.5 or Pathfinder. We're looking for the synthesis of a narrative gameplay experience without sacrificing rules. I love rules light role-playing games. I play them every once in a while. They're awesome. But for like my long-term campaigns, I want something with the heavier rules and the character options and all of that. So I want a crunchier system, but not so crunchy that combat bogs down and we're flipping through, Excel sheets just to figure out how our abilities work. So we call it medium crunch. It's in that in between those two kind of extremes in this fantasy space.
How does that work with the roleplay then? Does that help the roleplay of the role-playing system move a little bit better? Does it make, well, for those who haven't been able to play, how does the role play feel?
Let me give a couple examples. So combat is famously what tends to be the majority of the gameplay time, just because of how long it takes to, use all those abilities.
Combat
right.
just, you could be playing Powered by the Apocalypse game. The combat's gonna take a while.
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
Right. So a couple examples of how we tried to find that sweet spot where both mechanics and roleplay are joined, are synthesized. We use an action point system, similar to, I think, Pathfinder 2e, but a little bit more in-depth. So every hero starts out with 3 action points, and you've got an ability score that actually increases the number you can have. It's called coordination, so that's kind of our new thing. You don't see that in Pathfinder or in D&D. The characters with higher coordination can just do more stuff on each of their turns. Regardless of how many action points you have, on each of your turns, you can spend some, all, or none of your action points. Action points that you don't spend get held over to use reactive actions. These would be, in D&D terms, your attacks of opportunity, your counter spells, that kind of thing. If you, if you hold your action points to do that, and then you don't get a chance to, some of those action points roll over onto your next turn, allowing you a more effective turn at that point. So the example I've used a lot is if I'm a frontline fighter and all of my enemies are out of range of my javelin, I might, duck behind like a boulder, save the rest of my action points, wait for them to get closer, and then on my next turn I can make more attacks or do more things. It gives you the flexibility to respond to the narrative situation without just kind of hand-waving and getting into a rules-light system. I guess another quick example in regards to combat is the death point system that we use. So I think it's safe for me to spoil the end of Fellowship of the Ring. That's been out for 20 years. So
I mean, the book's been out longer. Let's
book has been out for for what, 60, 70 years? So
yeah,
60 years. Anyway, whatever it was. So Boromir at the end of Fellowship of the Ring, iconic scene. When you drop down to 0 hit points in MythCraft, you start gaining death points. So you're still conscious, you still have your full fighting capacity. Adrenaline has you amped, it has you still going, still fighting. And you can choose to keep fighting or to withdraw and start catching your breath. If you keep fighting, for every time you end your turn with 0 hit points, you gain a death point. Anytime you take, or you would take damage, but you already have 0 hit points, then you gain 2 death points. So those add up, and once you hit 8 death points, then you drop dead. 9 death points if you're a catfolk, because...
Fun lives. That makes sense. I like it. So I guess the question is why a new edition? Why an enhanced edition? Why a new BackerKit? New fundraising.
So we're a young company, and we're super enthusiastic, and we're gaining experience all the time. So a couple things that, with hindsight, we would have done a little bit differently with our first project is hire a professional editor. So we're kind of paying the piper on that now, going through and clearing up some typos. The enhanced edition doesn't like it's not, you know, second edition. It's not 2E. It's still the same game. It just has typos cleared up. It has some errata that we have found over the course of a year and a half of like active gameplay. Some talents, some magic abilities that are either too powerful, not powerful enough, or just written in a way that is confusing. So we're going in, we're cleaning all of that up. That goes for both the character options and the monsters. And the kind of the big new thing with the Enhanced Edition is we're bringing it onto Roll20 and Foundry and other virtual tabletop platforms as we are able to. It's already on Questline. It's not on either of the big two yet. So that's one of our big goals with Enhanced, is bringing it into the digital gaming space officially so that people don't have to kind of jury-rig their own systems. Like, I've been using an open world sandbox Foundry system to run MythCraft, and it works, but it's, you know, it's not as smooth as it could be. It's not an official integrated system. It's not good at getting people in the door. It's good for people who are already playing MythCraft. So, you know, that's a big part of Enhanced. We're also just looking for other ways to flesh out the MythCraft world, kind of offer some new enhanced things. I hate to define the word with the word, but
yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, you know, so we've got some massive campaign modules that we've published already that would take years of gameplay. It can be hard to sell a group on that if they're already familiar with D&D or Pathfinder. So the Enhanced Edition has some adventure magazines that are like that kind of 4-session slot. You know, play it for a month, see what you think, work it into your rotation without committing your life to it. Get a little bit more of the experience than you would with just a one-shot game. So that's one of the things we're offering. I am writing some short stories set in the MythCraft world, so I'm really excited for that. My academic training is as a fiction writer, not as a game designer, so this is kind of returning to my origin here. So, you know, different things like that just to expand the world and the lore of MythCraft, in addition to just kind of cleaning up the books from our first print.
What are some of the extra things that they can add on? What's some of the, you know, other, I guess, goals along the way?
Okay, so in regards to add-ons, and I'm assuming anyone who watches this is familiar with like Kickstarter, BackerKit, crowdfunding is going to be basically the same as Kickstarter in that respect. So some add-ons, you know, it's going to be a mix of digital goods and physical goods. You know, we know a lot of people use Roll20 Foundry. That's why we really are eager to bring MythCraft into that space. Exactly. So some stuff that will come, you know, based on the reward tier you back or based on what add-ons you're looking for, involve digital dice. We have partnered with, I want to say it's called DD Dice. It's a Chrome plugin that lets you roll polyhedral dice on any like platform. So given that I mainly use Foundry, I don't know if Roll20 has added this feature yet, like baked in or not, but one of the things I love about Foundry is the Dice So Nice module that lets you roll what looks like 3D dice on your screen.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, so the plugin that we're working with lets you do that on any, Chrome window. So that's something we're excited for. It's 18 different digital dice sets based on the 13 different classes that you can play in MythCraft and the 5 sources of magic that you can cast in MythCraft. So different themed dice, and we've got those like circular token borders for like VTTs. So we've got 18 borders to match those dice. So on the digital side, that's something to look for. On the physical side, we've got a MythCraft coin or a like D2 that's this nice brass. It's like almost the size of my palm. It's a hefty coin. Nice. But it's got like the one of the logos that Jake created. He's our creative director. He does some of the graphic design for the books and oversees a lot of the art process. So it's a beautiful looking coin on the physical side. On the physical side, my short story collection as a paperback will be available. On the digital side, it will be a PDF and an audiobook voiced by Grant Milkey, our own CEO. So, if you're the physical kind of collector, we've got some stuff. We've got a few new physical dice sets. We're not doing all 18 of the digital ones. That's just a lot of dice to mess with.
Yeah,
but we've got a few.
That's a lot of dice.
Right. Even for the dice goblins. But yeah, we've got some new physical dice. We've got a lot of new digital dice and borders and the audiobook. So yeah, a wide spread of stuff depending on what you're looking for.
I guess some background about me. My first character ever, I only got into doing TTRPGs in 2020 because lockdown and everything like that. So I count myself as new. Was a cleric in 5e. What would you suggest for somebody who was a cleric rogue or anything like that?
A cleric rogue. Well, what? So in 5e terms, what was your domain?
It was a trickery domain.
Okay, that makes sense, right? So you multi-classed cleric and rogue and trickery domain.
Yep, trickery domain, arcane trickster.
Nice. That's a fun build. That's cool.
Yeah. She was a good person. I like her. I miss her.
Yeah. So in MythCraft, the cleric class has a series of divine icons, which is kind of like your domain. It's like a little series of abilities that you can take that differentiate yourself a little bit. I don't remember. This is a little embarrassing. I don't remember a good equivalent for trickster. I mean, we've got cleric and rogue in MythCraft. Those are classic tropes. We've got 13 base classes. Not all of them have a one-to-one equivalent in 5e, but cleric and rogue both do. The rogue has a Psi-Blade subclass that would be similar to your arcane trickster, just on the psionic side instead of the arcane side. Regarding the cleric, so cleric is very different than. Well, let me back up. In MythCraft, the classes use class tracks, which look kind of like a
similar to like Pathfinder and other ones that have like a track system, correct?
Yeah, similar to that. Or think about any video game with like skill trees. Right. So each time you level up, you pick something new. There's no dead levels. That's one of the big things about MythCraft. Every time you level up, you get some kind of like feature or ability or
and
something.
As much as I love, I level up, I get like movement, woo, or a spell slot, woo.
Yeah.
I want something meatier.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, like in that middle zone between 5e and like Pathfinder 3.5. So every time you level up, you get something. And the way that works with the cleric is like you would choose a, you get your base cleric entry ability. And then when you start leveling up, you choose which cleric class track you go into. Those would be like subclasses. But you're not locked into one. So you could bounce back and forth. In 5e terms, you could bounce back and forth, between trickery and knowledge if you wanted to go both of those. Do like a low-key build with kind of, occupy that space.
She started as a life domain cleric, and then I was just like, no, I want something cooler.
Yeah, I mean, life is like the classic cleric, so you've got to, spruce it up a little bit. So with the cleric in MythCraft, you're choosing the three like core class tracks you can choose from are piety, which is going to be your typical kind of lay on hands. It's the life cleric. You've got the I can't remember the official name of the class, but it's basically your exorcist. You go around casting out demons and doing kind of the more aggressive, like combat-oriented cleric.
Very paladin cleric mix.
Yeah,
that way.
Right. And the iconographer, which is kind of based on Catholic monks, right? You're sitting there like writing an icon, and then the icon gives you an ability, or you can give it to a party member, and then they get the ability. So. You can mix and match and kind of build out your character in within the cleric class using any of those three ideas. So given your initial character, I think that a Psyblade rogue mixed with like an iconographer cleric is probably what you're looking at.
That would make me so happy as somebody who was in academia as well. I have a degree in history.
Okay.
Illuminated manuscripts are one of my favorite things to look at. I love them from any culture, like just an illuminated manuscript. And so just taking the iconography of an illuminated manuscript and making it into a spell or some sort of buff. Just eat it up. Just gonna eat it up.
I had a lot of fun making that class track. Also, as a my minor was in history in undergrad, so I've done a lot of studies there. So that's really fun. Yeah.
I guess what is your favorite? I guess class or class track.
So
in the game.
I mean, you're asking me to pick between my children.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm asking you to pick favorites. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. We like a causing drama here.
Yeah. I am going to have to do the classic like politician thing. Like, I love all of the classes equally. They all have really fun, cool things. I will tell you a fun story about one of them that is unique.
Yes.
The first class that I wrote was the Oracle class, which is a magic. It's not the same as a D&D druid, but that's the closest equivalent. You could also think of it as like the fantasy equivalent of a Jedi. Think about what's his name, Bjorn from The Hobbit, the shapeshifter.
Okay, yeah.
You have very minor character, but like, so you've got some animal polymorph stuff. You've got some psionic magic, some primal magic, depending on how you build your character. A lot of predicting the future or trying to anticipate things that may come to be. Weal and woe. Think of the Oracle of Delphi from ancient Greek lore. And so
just got a bottle full of like ether just to inhale, just to get the oracleness going.
Right. Exactly. So I drafted this class, and the ideas were cool, but they never came up in gameplay. Like predicting an event and then the event never comes to pass. Well, I guess I don't get my bonus for that.
That's a DM's worst nightmare, and also like, yeah, we could just say it never happened. Just and wave it.
Exactly. So I drafted all of these abilities that sounded cool and felt interesting, but never worked. And so I set it aside and drafted the rest of the classes. Out of the core 13, I wrote 9 of the original classes, and Grant, the CEO, wrote the other 4. So after he and I wrote the rest of the classes, I held up the Oracle next to the last class that I wrote, which was the Pugilist, the monk build, the martial artist. It was night and day. The Pugilist was interesting, relevant, strong, fun to play, and the Oracle was none of these things. And so I went back and thought, how can I make the Oracle feel like it has the same kind of ideas that I was going for, but also be a viable character option? And it took more drafts than any of the other classes, and I kept taking it to the team and saying, look at this, I think I fixed it. And Grant would read through it and say, I think you can do better. Let's play through and just see what happens. And we'd play a session where I'd simulate like kind of a little combat and go, okay, yeah, that wasn't it. And so it kept going back to the drawing board over and over. And so it was both my first class to write out of the core set and my last class. But over that process, we finally got it right. And in MythCraft the podcast, shameless plug, we have our podcast. I was first one of the players, and then when our MythCrafter, when our GM stepped down, I became the GM. But my first player character in that was an Oracle, and she held her own against all of the other classes, and she's one of my favorite characters I've ever played. So I will say there's that partial like kind of sentimental value to the Oracle that I don't have with the other classes.
I think if you put enough effort into something, especially if you have to go back and rewrite it over and over again, you're kind of like, it's not your favorite, but it's it's the most you have energy into, and so you're kind of, you have a better, I wouldn't say relationship, but you have a better like understanding of how that thing is made more than anything. Yeah, no, I get that. I think that's how everybody feels about character creation as well, as just like, this is my character. I know them inside and out. I will make a 20-page backstory. I will write a novel. I'm this person. I am this person. I guess whenever it comes like to the type of player, what type of player is the MythCrafter player? The MythCraft player.
So, let me ask, what type of player is the 5e player?
That is a great question. It just depends. It really just depends, right? Like, what are you wanting to get out of the game? Yeah.
So, there are 5e power gamers. A lot of them migrate to Pathfinder, but there are 5e power gamers. There are 5e drama kids who I think find 5e, and some of them like stick around and love it. Some of them move over to Powered by the Apocalypse or other like lighter systems. Or, you know, Daggerheart, I think when it's out, that's going to appeal to a lot of like theater kids.
Oh yeah, that is a theater kid's like favorite thing coming out, probably. Just like, oh, it's all about roleplay. Sweet.
Yeah, exactly. So MythCraft is not all about roleplay. I think power gamers have a blast looking through all of the talents and trying to find ways to min-max their character builds, find weird combos to break the game. There haven't I'm proud to say there haven't been too many combos that actually completely break the game. There have been a couple over the early like playtesting days. We found a few. But most of them are just like, yeah, that's a really strong build. You're sacrificing all of these other options to do that, but you're going to be very good at lockpicking, whatever it may be.
You'll be the master thief. There you go.
Right.
A door will not get in your way.
Exactly. I would say MythCraft is for people who are looking for more of the gamified experience, less of the Daggerheart or Powered by the Apocalypse, like kind of lighter systems. But also who are looking for kind of a modernized experience, or looking to get their friends who haven't played role-playing games into the gaming experience. You know, Pathfinder has a high kind of bar of entry, right? It's a lot to process. MythCraft is, I think, not much harder, if harder at all, than D&D 5e to like pick up and learn. The action point system, I think, is easier to teach someone than sitting someone down and explaining actions, bonus actions, movement, reactions, and free actions, and when you can use one, when you can't use one. So MythCraft has more complexity and more nuance than 5e, but I don't think it's harder to learn than 5e.
Okay.
You can, regarding the power gamers, you can be the expert in one thing, no doors will get in your way. Or you can be the jack of all trades. You're sacrificing specialization for versatility. I've seen both playstyles at the same table, and neither one has felt stronger or weaker than the other. They're just different playstyles, and I think it's very fun to see a system do that and reward both approaches.
I like that. I like that a lot. Especially, I mean, I'm currently playing through Dragon Age the Veilguard, and so the skill tree is... My skill tree is this. It's just like, I want all of this, and then I just like refund all my points and then redo it again. Anytime it gets too hard, I'm like, let's do this combo. Right. I like a good combo situation. I as much as I would love to get, to the highest level of in one specific class, I'm very much a how can I make this easier for myself type of player. I'm like I will role play this, but I want to make sure that I make the coolest character that can do cool stuff, because I like doing cool things.
Right.
'Cause I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. I guess the next question is I read through the press release and I saw something about a Ghibli inspired atmosphere exploration. What is this?
Yeah, so
I'm a huge Ghibli fan, so or
Okay.
Ghibli. However, this is like GIF and GIF all over.
right, that's exactly what I was
I was like, this is the GIF GIF conversation.
Yeah, that studio.
Yeah, that the wonderful people that make me cry over a cartoon studio.
Yes. Yes. So that is one of the adventure magazines I was talking about earlier, kind of the 4-session kind of mini adventures. It is an adventure designed for level 8 players, a typical party. MythCraft uses the same kind of you're looking at a party of 4 to 6 for like a good gameplay experience. You can go fewer, you can go more. 4 to 6 is like kind of where you're gonna be, where most tables will be at their best. So Beyond the Clouds is a Ghibli inspired adventure, taking you up to a chain, an archipelago of floating islands. You meet a birdfolk lineage that you find out that there's drama going on between them and a worm that is lurking in the caves underneath the islands, which are still flying up in the air. And you have to, navigate flying a hot air balloon through a thunderstorm. Just a bunch of different kind of fun snapshots of what you can expect in that adventure. It is, I think I said this already, sorry. It's designed for a level 8 party. It's the highest level one out of the new adventures that we're writing. But we wanted them to be accessible to a new table, a party of new players. But I also found that all of the threats going on, the possibility of falling off of the islands, like I wanted to give them a high enough level that they'd have some options to counteract all of those threats.
I like that. That's the one I was excited about. I was like, Eldritch Horror, Magical School, whatever.
Yeah.
I want Ghibli. I want cute, but sad and undertones of war in there. Right. I want all of it. I want all of that. I guess when this launches on BackerKit, what does QuasiReal have planned? Is there an actual play coming out, like a little mini series, a one shot? Is there giveaways? I don't know. What's the plan? What's the plan that you can tell us? Obviously.
Right. The plan I can tell you is we've already been doing some giveaways and various XP events on our Discord, discord.gg/mythcraft. If you, I believe this will go out a little bit before our launch, so you should still have time to jump in and participate in those. But I imagine we will keep several of our different Discord events going through the duration of our launch. I know Grant, every time we launch a crowdfund, he does a all day long stream kind of talking through the different things you can expect with the campaign. Sometimes he'll stream video games, sometimes he and I will hop on and either talk through kind of a MythCraft idea or play a co-op video game. Last time we did not Vampire Survivor, V Rising for a little while, built a little vampire castle. Yeah. So, fun community events like that the day of, and then throughout the campaign, we will be doing a variety of streams. I plan on streaming some character creation streams, just putting together characters live for the Legends of MythCraft magazine, which is just pre-generated characters. If you have someone who's I want to play, but I don't want to try to figure out how to make a character, then this is the magazine they can flip through, find a character they like, and sit down and play that character. So I'll be designing those live. That has not been announced yet, so there's a scoop. Have fun with that. The big one that a lot of people I know are excited for, you mentioned Eldritch Horror. Nah, a lot of people are into that.
I can't say much. I play in a horror actual play. I'm just like,
okay.
Eldritch Horror? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, give me some Ghibli.
Right. So that is the magazine called The Mountains of Madness, based on the H.P. Lovecraft novella At the Mountains of Madness. We will be streaming a playthrough of that on January 11th, which is a Saturday. I can't remember the exact time, but you can find it in our Discord. I want to say it's like 7 Eastern, somewhere in the evening. And we're doing kind of a shortened version of that. The whole adventure probably takes, 4 sessions to play through, so we're doing kind of a truncated version to get the flavor and show kind of the highlights of that adventure. We may do others. We haven't committed to any others yet, but we might do the Beyond the Clouds Ghibli adventure, kind of, again, a shortened version of that. So there will be streams, there will be events, there have been giveaways, there will, I'm sure, continue to be. We are doing, what else are we doing? There has been a magic item creation contest that's been going on for a while, and we'll be doing a stream reading through those and then choosing one to be like the winner that we will put on the MythCraft SRD, which is the wiki. It has all of the character options, all of the monsters. So the winner will go up on the wiki, and there's also a cash giveaway for the winner. So yeah, a big event there. We may do other stuff like that over the course of the campaign, but there's at least one magic item contest that we'll be doing.
I dig it. Well, tell everybody where to find the campaign, where to find MythCraft and QuasiReal Publishing, and yourself, because this sounds super. I mean, the work is working. There you go. The work is working. I'm like, yes, I'm very excited. Also, are you the one that does the daily stories in the Discord?
Yes. Yeah.
I have been loving those. I'm in the Discord, so I'm just like, what is this?
I saw you reacting to a couple of them. Yeah. So it's I started it earlier this month, and I'll be going at least up until the launch, depending on if the story has kind of a clear wind down, then I might conclude it at the launch and start a second one. I might keep the same one going. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen there. But yeah, it's kind of a daily choose your own adventure where the community votes on the next branch in the story. So let me see if I can run through the links. Discord.gg/mythcraft is where you can hang out with us. We're all there very frequently, doing different community events such as that Choose Your Own Adventure, which I've had a blast with. It's been really fun. MythCraftRPG.com is our main website. It's our store. You can find any of our old products there. SRD.MythCraftRPG.com is our wiki. All of our character options, stories, or not stories, but lore about the official MythCraft setting, creatures, magic items, anything you need to run a game is all there. The campaign itself, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So on BackerKit, coming soon, we're currently the top of the list for the coming soon projects, so very easy to find us there, but just otherwise go to BackerKit and search MythCraft Enhanced, and it will take you right there. MythCraft the podcast on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, any of the other big ones. You can find us on all of those. Our first campaign just concluded, and the last episode of our campaign dropped yesterday at the time of this recording. So, a week ago or whatever, depending on when this goes out. So, great time to binge. It's only 42 episodes, so that's, 60, 70, 80 hours of content. It's not Critical Role length.
Yeah.
So,
I just wrapped up a 40 episode D&D campaign. So I'm just like, and that took 2 years to finish through.
Right.
I'm just like, I don't know how they do 120 episodes right now. That's crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, they're professional actors. Like,
That's true.
God bless them.
This is their job.
Right. So our first campaign wrapped. Our second campaign is in like pre-development right now, so I'm not going to say anything more about it other than we've got like the cast together and we're working on developing characters. So that you won't see that until after the BackerKit campaign is over, but we are working on a second campaign. Again, MythCraft the podcast is where you can find that. Patreon.com/QuasiReal Publishing for monthly rewards, early character options or monsters that we've either used in silly one-shots or that we're planning on releasing in the future. I released knockoffs of the Great Pumpkin and David S. Pumpkins for our Halloween Patreon release, so fun stuff there.
Can I suggest something for next Halloween?
Please.
Pamela Pumpkin. She's a character that a comedian does, and I guess she was like, it was big on TikTok and Vine, and it's just like Pamela Pumpkin, and she has like a little dance. Just Google Pamela Pumpkin.
Okay, I will. Yeah.
I think it would be a fun little character NPC.
Yeah, that'd be great. Pamela Pumpkin, easy to remember. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with David Pumpkins, so Pamela Pumpkin
David
feels like a good.
So good. I love Tom Hanks in this house.
Yes. I think those are all the big links. I'll shout out the Homebrew Network if you're looking for more podcasts. If you're looking for D&D actual plays, in addition to MythCraft actual plays, the Homebrew Network will have you covered. They also did a Cyberpunk Red campaign, but I think that's Patreon paywall now because they concluded that one. But lots of options there. So, yeah, that's us.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me about this wonderful project. I'm very excited, and I'm always looking for new games to play, honestly, and try to get my friends to play them with me, because why not, right?
Right.
So, if you are interested in MythCraft Enhanced Edition, it is coming out to BackerKit January 7th, and I mean, why wouldn't you back it? I'm just saying. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the internet. Goodbye!